righty, good evening. It's 7 p.m., so I'd like to call the September 8th, 2020 meeting of the Rockdale County Board of Adjustment to order. Wonder if we can start with the invocation. First of all, start with a prayer. God, we ask that you always lead and guide us to make the best decisions for our county. Be with us going forward and lead us as you see. Amen.
Amen.
And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have any housekeeping things we need to cover?
We'll do that afterward.
Okay.
Roll call.
All righty. To determine that we have a quorum here, we're going to do a roll call. We have Bridget Howell via Zoom. Present. Bridget's not present. Kevin Fuller. Not present.
So
Present.
Present. Okay. Nichelle Ford.
Present.
Deborah Tumlin.
Present.
All right, and myself, Deborah Wilson. So we do have a quorum. We need approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval?
Make a motion.
A second.
All right. We have a motion by Deborah Tumlin, seconded by Nichelle Ford, to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And we need approval for the amendments. I'm sorry, for the minutes. Do we have a motion for the approval of the minutes from July the 7th, 2020, the regular meeting?
So move. I move.
Second.
Second. All righty. We have a motion by Nichelle Ford, an approval by Deborah, a second by Deborah Tumlin. Approve the amendments. I don't know why I keep saying amendment. Approve the minutes of the July 7th, 2020 regular meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right, for the rules of the procedure for public hearings, we have that to be read.
This meeting is being streamed live on Facebook and being recorded. Due to audio sensitivity, please refrain from sidebar conversations or personal comments for anyone in attendance. There is a 15-second delay between the live meeting and the Facebook stream. All virtual participants' microphones will be automatically muted by the meeting facilitator. For those in attendance here in the auditorium, please do not stream Zoom or Facebook due to negative impacts on the audio. Comments submitted via Facebook will become an official part of the record. Please limit the comments to the case being heard. If you are joining us in person, each speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning case sheet and fill out a public comment card and submit it to county staff to register your intent to speak prior to the start of this meeting. If you are joining us virtually, you should have registered your intent to speak with staff prior to the start of this meeting. Each item of business will be handled in the order that it appears on the agenda, unless upon motion of the Board of Adjustment, the order is changed. A member of the county planning staff will present each item to the Board of Adjustment and will further provide a recommendation upon each item of business. The zoning applicant or the agent will state their name and address and will have 10 minutes in which to make his or her presentation. Any portion of their 10 minutes may be reserved for rebuttal following the opposition to the application. If you are a presenter, please be prepared to share your screen during your presentation and ensure that your documents are set to full screen or in presentation mode. After the applicant's presentation, all registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard. The secretary will call all speakers by name in the order of persons attending live in the auditorium, then persons attending via the virtual meeting. Prior to speaking upon the item, each speaker will state their name and address. They will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation and the speakers in favor of the application have been heard, the secretary will call upon the registered speakers in opposition to the application. The speakers will be called by name in the order of persons attending live in the auditorium, then persons attending via the virtual meeting. The opposition will likewise be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the public hearing portion is closed, no other speakers will be heard. After all public comments have been heard, the Board of Adjustment may hold a general discussion and ask the applicant questions. The Board of Adjustment will then vote on a motion. Appeals of all final decisions of the Board of Adjustment shall be made to the Superior Court of Rockdale County via a writ of certiorari within 30 days after the final decision of the Board of Adjustment is rendered.
All right, thank you. We do not have any old or unfinished business to cover, so we're going to go into the new business. Our new business tonight is a variance case. It's variance 2020-05. Property is 1986 Gibraltar Way, Northwest Conyers, Georgia. An accessory building setback variance request from UDO, section 218-7F, to receive county approval of a storage shed with a minimum setback distance of 2.38 feet, which is a decrease of 7.62 feet from the minimum 10-foot setback required for an accessory building. The property owner is Elfrida Reynolds. Hope I said that first name correctly. Elfrida Reynolds.
Yes.
All right.
thank you, Madam Chair. Tears Petrie, zoning administrator. And so Mrs. Reynolds owns a 1986 Gibraltar Way, and which contains 0.433 acres. Earlier this year, a storage shed was constructed on top of an existing wall. And that wall was 2.38 feet from the adjacent property to the east. And this is a decrease of 7.62 feet from the minimum 10-foot setback required for an accessory building. This location is in the Lake Capri Estate subdivision, and Lake Capri is off to the west. The adjacent neighbors are on Amalfi Drive and Gibraltar Way. This lot was created in 1963, which was prior to the adoption of the zoning ordinance by Rockdale County in 1966, and before the adoption by Rockdale County of the Unified Development Code ordinance in 2006. And you can see the lot within a box, green box, essentially. When this was created in 1963, the lot was created with 18,874 square feet, along with an 89.98 foot width at the rear of the property. And staff believes that it was zoned R1 in 1966, which made this lot a non-conforming lot because of its lot width and lot area. R1 in 1966 required 21,780 square feet and a lot width of 100 feet for properties on public water. In 2006, the lot area required in the R1 zoning district increased to 30,000 square feet. And therefore, the lot area nonconformity of 1986, Gibraltar Ray increased. And so we're talking about a structure that is in the the southeast corner of the property. It meets the standards of being 20 feet from the residence in the rear yard and being clearly subordinate to the principal use. Additionally, it is located on the same lot as the residence. In addition, the combined total impervious surface is 20%. And as you can see, the surveyor is the one that determined that it was 2.38 feet from the proper line. And at the minimum, at the maximum, it is 2.86 feet. Staff has the power to administrative variance, but that is only up to 5 feet. Reduction of 50% of the 10 feet required. And so this was beyond staff's capability. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is the residence on the street. And you can see the accessory structure right at the where the hand is, right off to the east of the property or the residence. This is looking at it from the eastern facade of the residence. This is closer up. You can see that there is a covered deck or entryway. This is the side and back of the structure. And this was taken in May. The survey had not been out there till July, but somebody had appears to have marked the proper line right here. This is another angle from that proper line. This is the front. Front again. And then this is the kind of like the side, say 1-room structure. And this is what the picture that was taken. The staff will receive a complete floor plan if this is approved at the time of building permit. Due to the nonconformity of this this lot, because I'll show you the topography as well. So this is the lot running on Gibraltar. The property is actually, the neighboring property starts at an elevation of 814 right here, and it drops down to 7086. And so that's a difference of 2830 feet. And so that's a rather steep slope. And the reasoning for the wall was to protect the property from the flow of the water that came onto the property. And that was the reasoning for the applicant to build that wall. And then the applicant decided to build on top of that wall. But because of the topography, along with the nonconformity of this lot, where the owner loses at least 11 feet from 100 feet at the front to 89 feet or so at the back, that's a loss of 11 feet, and therefore staff believes that justified a recommendation for approval. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you. And so now we have comments from the applicant.
I have no comments.
And that was Mrs. Alfredia Reynolds.
Okay,
Yes, Alfreda Reynolds.
thank you, Ms. Reynolds. All right, I'll now call the public hearing to order. Is there anyone present in the auditorium that wants to speak on the matter?
Yes, we do have one person that came to speak on the matter. It is Mr. Tony Simpkins, and he's speaking in favor of this variant.
Thanks, sir. I'm Tony Simpkins from 1996 Gibraltar. I'm the Reynolds neighbor, myself and my wife, and speak in favor of them being approved for this building for several reasons. One reason, I'm absolutely sure that the Reynolds didn't construct this building with intentions of violating the code. Everything about this building was done in all honesty, hard work by himself, his family members. And from looking at the pictures, you could tell that they put a lot of hard work in this building. This is not your everyday run-of-the-mill shed that you go down to Home Depot and pick up. They got a lot of hard work in it. It's a nice, sturdy building. And if you go back to your pictures, your topographical map, the map itself will tell you, it'll show you, plus not only not the topographical map, but the pictures that you had. If you look at the background of that angle behind them of the land, the water ran down through their yard and across to our yard and just washes everything out. We couldn't have grass because the flow of water washes out our grass. So to help us, Mr. Fred and Miss Alfreda started making changes in their yard to help us with the erosion that's coming from uphill through their yard. So they're good neighbors, absolutely excellent neighbors to go as far as to do something like that. So when it come up that he was going to build this building, there wasn't a better place to build that building other than this place he put that building. And if you look again in your pictures, you can look behind it, you can see all the stuff that he brought in to build up that area to somewhat level that ground. So the water don't wash through his yard and onto our yard, but it settles on down into the earth. So everything he did was, and not only just that area, he did the work in the front of that house, all around that house, everywhere in that yard is a downhill slope. And they have put, the pictures will show you, if you look at the pictures, they have done tremendous work on that property to preserve that land, to preserve that area, to stop that erosion. So nothing they did was in any intent, I'm certain, I spoke to them several times, any intent of disrespecting or disregarding the code or any governmental official or anything of that nature. It's he didn't know the code. So I ask for your approval, because in all honesty, this job was done in honesty of trying to make an improvement. Now, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have anyone on Zoom wishing to speak to the matter?
Okay, we do have somebody, an attendee to the meeting on Zoom, but she said that she just wanted to watch and listen to everything that was taking place. But at this moment, we can give the Renos a chance to, well, there's no rebuttal, but if they wanted to speak further on everything that you've heard, right now we'll give them a chance to. And if not, the public comment portion will be closed.
Okay. So no one on Facebook either?
Is it possible to speak? Because I didn't sign in. I apologize for that.
Yes.
Yes, you can. If you would just give me your name and your address so we can have it on public record, and then you can go ahead. Are you speaking in favor or opposition?
In favor of.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, Fred Reynolds, 1986 Gibraltar Way. Just basically, I'd like to concur with everything that's been said so far. The original intent of the whole thing started with the wall. When we moved here approximately almost 4 years ago, if you had seen those pictures of this property, it would have been deplorable. So we immediately, at our own expense, decided to improve the property, just like Mr. Tony had mentioned. We did this because we wanted to improve the appearance of the property. So one thing that we noticed almost immediately was the amount of erosion that was going on in the backyard, the front yard, and the sidewall, and the side yards. So naturally, from an engineering perspective, we decided to start constructing walls to try to level out the property as much as we possibly could to stop some of the erosion. So the first thing that you do normally is to build a wall. The structure came much later. And like it was said previously, my experience has always been, and I apologize for this, I did not look up the definition. We always looked at a storage shed for the function of it, to store excess tools, lumber, carpentry, anything like that, to try to alleviate the problems with most garages being just stuff full of stuff. But I failed to check the definition of an accessory structure, which is what a storage shed in Rockdale County actually is. So that was my mistake. Also, I did not check on the code, the ordinance, because from a lot of perspectives, codes change all the time. So I didn't want to go back and do all of that work for something that I thought was a storage shed. That was unfortunate. It's an accessory structure. So when we built the wall was built probably a year and a half prior to the structure being built. So that was to try to alleviate some of the erosion coming from the neighbor's yard. So it could have been much easier, I guess, in some cases to go and start an argument about it and try to get a legal framework to say you need to do something about this erosion and do other kinds of things. We took it upon ourselves at our own expense to build the wall to try to alleviate a problem from the adjacent properties. And the actual storage shed was a result after that, because once again, we're trying to conform to code enforcement, these outdoor storage, a lot of things, and you can see that there are still some issues. So all of this stuff that would have been piled up, and you just try to find a good, neat, conforming way of storing stuff, basically. And that's what the structure actually is. So I don't know exactly what the complaint was. It does in no way, and I looked up the actual citation, if you will, and all of these different kinds of things like health and safety, environmental impact, these kinds of things, the structure does in no way violate those things. Now, obviously, when you go to the actual ordinance and you look up that particular one, it is non-conforming. The 10-foot rule was obviously violated. and we apologize for that. But the intent of the rule was in no way violated. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate the approval from staff as a recommendation. We appreciate the public comments in our favor, and we thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And Madam Chair, just to clarify, the wall is approximately 15 inches tall. So it was not a full foot wall. It was just a short stonewater wall, 15 inches or less.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, that's all of our comments. Thank you. All right, I'll now call the public hearing on variance case 2020-05 regarding 1986 Gibraltar Way Northwest to be closed. All right, this variance case is now open for board discussion. We'll go around the board for questions. If you have any questions for the staff or the applicant, I'll start. I'm sorry, it was unclear. Was Ms. Howell?
Ms. Howell is now on Zoom.
Is on. Okay, Ms. Howell, do you have any questions for the staff or the applicant?
Somebody needs to.
No, I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fuller, do you have any questions for the staff or the applicant?
No, I don't have any questions for the staff or the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Ms. Ford, do you have any questions for the staff or the applicant?
No questions.
And Ms. Tumlin, do you have any questions for the staff or the applicant?
There was a lot of talk about the wall, but what we're here today about, it has nothing to do with the wall, correct?
Right. So the pull up that picture.
The building is what's in question, I believe.
Right. Correct. But there the search screen. So this is the wall that Mr. Fuller was talking about, and this is about 15 inches tall. But it was relevant because the wall served as the foundation for the structure, or part of the foundation for the structure. Wall was built on top of it. Sorry, the structure was built on top of the wall.
And my only question was why variance wasn't requested first, but I believe he answered that saying that he did not know he was supposed to.
That's correct. And doing the research into this property, that just the fact that this was a non-conforming lot, that just really moved me to that recommendation for approval.
I guess that's all I have.
Okay, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, I appreciate the Reynolds do cleaning up the property and making things better, and appreciate the neighbor who came and spoke about that it helped their property as well. But I do have a couple of questions on it though. They say they just built it where the wall was, but it appears to me that the wall that was built there originally may have been in compliance because it's at the front of the building there. That wall is the front part of the foundation, and they built the structure behind that wall, closer to the property line.
Right. Yeah. The wall. Where's the? So the wall was not.
It's in between the deck and the structure itself.
Correct, right. And so walls and fences are permitted to be on the property line.
Okay.
And in this case, the applicant we don't know, this doesn't show exactly where the wall originally was. As far as underneath the structure, but the pictures kind of indicated that
One more.
this is the back of the structure.
This is the front of the structure.
And that would be the wall there in front. And
Right.
We started the structure on the wall and built backwards.
And this, okay, this is the proper line approximately.
There you go. That's the one. That's the right one. See the wall underneath the ladders? That's the wall. That was the first wall built.
Okay. So, if I understood everything correctly, Mr. and Ms. Reynolds did not know to inquire about a permit, so they started this without a permit.
Correct, because of the, from what he explained, because normal people use storage shed. Storage shed is a layman's term. The accessory structure is a technical term used by staff or some staff and others. And so it's, in this case, one of the problems of having a technical ordinance, it's hard for people to understand.
So if, I want to make sure I understand properly. So if he had gone down to Home Depot and bought one of those storage shelters, it wouldn't have been a problem. But because this is a built structure,
It depends on how those prefab structures, whether or not it was placed on a foundation or not. And I believe I would have possibly made the same recommendation for approval because of the shape of the lot.
so the next question I have is, and I can certainly appreciate the position that the Reynolds are in, obviously here. Had they not already started the structure and then came for a variance, we could have given them a variance up to 50%, but now we're wanting to give them a variance up to 75%?
Correct, right. Staff could have approved up to 50%.
But the board is allowed to approve more than that?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this variance.
They need to make a motion, Madam
Pardon?
Chair.
I move that we approve the construction, the request of the construction for the storage shed.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate becoming a citizen of Rockdale. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, our next regularly scheduled Board of Adjustment meeting is Tuesday, October the 6th at 7 p.m. here at the auditorium at 903 North Main Street. We now will take any public comments that are excluding any pending cases. Do we have anyone that, no comments? Okay. Since we don't have anything further on the agenda for tonight, we'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. The time is 7:35 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.